You know, well, first of all, I want to say hello to all the viewers in YouTube and hope that everyone is doing well. And we're going to get right into this, okay? You know, the climate in, the United States right now is it's very it's bizarre, to say the least, with dealing with pandemic and the effects, the adverse effects that the pandemic is causing is bringing certain things to the forefront, certain problems, certain realities, certain issues to our level of awareness. Like it's forcing us to really take a good look as to what we're facing on a day to day, from an individual personal level. And of course that spreads out to a communal level as far as a collective. But this is very taxing and it's difficult. Why I say that is because in a situation where we're faced in the United States, we're faced with this problem, this health crisis, where the government in this country basically told us to shut down, to lock down, to stay at home. The costs to that are very heavy. The costs are very heavy. People have lost their jobs and will not have those same jobs to go back to. Okay? When you have businesses that are filing for bankruptcy, when you have businesses that are shut down and primarily informing their workers that, it's over, that they can't go back to work, imagine how devastating that is. When you have businesses, decades old, that are filing for bankruptcy, it's very telling as far as the climate and where things are headed, okay? When you have jobless, even the numbers, the documented numbers, I believe, in my opinion, don't really capture the real numbers as far as joblessness and unemployment. Okay, up until this week or last week, up until last Thursday, the Department of Labor numbers were 30 million people registered for unemployment within a 6-week period. Now, it's not, counting people who were jobless before COVID hit, people who became jobless since COVID who cannot apply for unemployment for whatever reason, because those people are out there. Okay, so the numbers could be very well higher than 30 million. Okay, these relief measures and stimulus packages that that CARES Act prompted, or that are serving multi-billion-dollar corporations, which when they, a portion of that was supposed to serve the small businesses. Okay, that's facing its own challenges. Like this health crisis, this global pandemic really exposed the vulnerabilities of not only individuals like you and I, but also from a societal, governmental level. The vulnerabilities are widespread. widespread. And the reason why I say that is because people are still waiting to receive their stimulus checks. There are people who have received the stimulus checks who are dead, okay? Who are dead. There are people who have received, this is how broken the systems are. One entity doesn't know what the other's doing. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing in the United States, in these systems that you would think, everything would be sort of congruent, and move in one accord. No, that is not the case. Meanwhile, days go by, weeks go by, and months go by, and bills aren't getting paid. Why? Because those who have received, many who have received the $1,200 stimulus check had to spend it on whatever they needed to spend it. It's gone. It's gone. So now you have a slew of proposals that are, that the government is debating, whatever, House of Representatives, the Senate, Congress. These people are debating on these various proposals to pretty much pay people, to assist people while this health crisis is going on, while they are told not to work. Sure, there are states that are reopening, but how is that faring so far? From what I understand, for example, in Austin, Texas, which is a budding, thriving metropolis, they started to reopen and the malls are bare. People are not running out to shop because they don't know where the next, money is coming from. They're not out to shop. You reopen something, you think people are going to run in droves to be around each other after being traumatized by this health pandemic crisis? So I say all this to say, there's also an understanding that it would be wise for those who receive stimulus, those who can invest in themselves, to start a business on their own, right? So even through tragedy, people seek to obtain profit. In times where there's extreme tragedy, people look for opportunity to make profit, right? There's a podcast I was watching, well, not a podcast, it was a stream that I was watching today where, you have, a creator who was hosting his show, and he had some guests on, and they were basically talking about real estate investing, okay? Real estate investing. Now, the reason why, this video, you see this image that I'm showing you, and why it's apropos is because, you're talking about joblessness now. There's a reason why certain executive orders were issued in the beginning of this crisis, claiming that no one will be evicted within 90 days. Why? Because they have no money to pay their rent, much less their mortgage, okay? So if you're in dire straits and economic turmoil and you have no job and you don't know, you're waiting on stimulus, you're waiting on et cetera, and it's not coming fast enough. Meanwhile, you have to eat. Meanwhile, bills are piling up, many people lived paycheck to paycheck before COVID. Many people were struggling in this country, working 2 and 3 jobs just to get by. Single parent households, even households that have, 2 adults working, were still struggling to make both ends meet together. So couple that with now where they're not working, they're unable to return to work because they have no jobs to go to because their business is shut down permanently. They couldn't obtain, the business, whatever. It just can't, it's dissolved. Now you're talking about a certain sector with real estate where they're asking people to buy into their product which could be very, it could be legit. I'm not saying it's not legit. I'm saying is in this time, you see how people just looking for opportunity to make profit, even through misery, even through destitution, even through this global crisis that's taking place, because it's not just isolated in the United States. People are still looking for ways to make that cheddar, to make that money, selling you whatever they can. The product that the people were selling was to help create business lines of credit. Okay, for anyone who has a business, well, not specifically, but especially if it's tied to real estate, because we have to understand that real estate is an industry. People will always need a place to stay. So real estate has been considered, although risky, but it's been considered fairly sound investment. People have used real estate to, attain income, rental income, or to rehab, to then sell again by way of flipping their properties, make money off the properties, refinance their properties, take the cash, and acquire new properties. This has been sort of like a way to secure long-term wealth and even immediate wealth, because real estate, land is not something that can be multiplied, right? Land, whatever land that's on earth right now, it's going to be very hard to multiply. So people use real estate as a means to create wealth, and that's understood. But in this climate, excuse the background and the noise, because I'm outside making this video. With respect to what's going on here, where people are unable to pay their rent, and landlords have an obligation where if their properties are not quite paid off, they still have to pay taxes. And if they still have a mortgage, they still have to pay their monthly obligation, principal, interest, taxes. Okay, like this is really critical right now. I'm interested to see how this really affects Airbnb, for example. Those who have more than who have one property or more properties, Airbnb, that have been using them for hospitality. The people, it's about a business. How is that going to affect owners who have Airbnb holdings if this lockdown continues? We were told so far about March, what the numbers and findings are from March, and how depriving and just the market is just shutting down as far as real estate. And April just passed, and we were in the thick of things in April. Now we're in May. 30 million documented numbers as far as statistics with unemployment. So who's going to pay for these Airbnbs? Who's going to pay for these rental properties? I mean, not even like who's going to pay. Eventually you have tenants, they will pay eventually if everything recovers in a way that helps, bring some type of resolution and things become more solvent. Okay, but these people, like, it's like the host of this YouTube channel, the creator of the YouTube channel, like, he talks about the climate and how hard things are. So I can't really knock him completely as far as what his channel talks about. My channel is too small for me to even mention his name, because nobody's gonna watch the video. But that's just another conversation. But what I'm saying is this, he talks about how, cash is worthless, which we all know cash is worthless because it's not backed by anything except faith. It's not, there's no gold standard attached to it. That's been removed since 1971 in the days of Nixon, and do your research, and you could see how cash is it's just piece of paper. Fiat is just a piece of paper. So he would say, use the opportunity to take this money. If you can receive a stimulus, try to receive the stimulus and put it in a hard asset. Real estate was one, which is shaky right now. Everything is shaky, but real estate, I mean, come on, people are talking about even issuing proposals to not pay rent for a year, not pay a mortgage for a year, especially on your principal residence. Okay, so that shows you where things are. But he's saying get into real estate. It's just these real estate people are scared. I'm telling you, they're scared. And he got his partners to talk to the audience about signing up for their program, and it was in the thousands of dollars. And they were getting signups because people sell things. They did a good job. I'm not discrediting their service and their business, but I'm thinking about in times like now. Okay, how are you helping people? And okay, they promised to give people business lines of credit. Okay, that their service, that they've been in the industry for X amount of years, that they know how to negotiate with lenders, they know how to help people repair their credit, and for a nominal fee, they'll do all of these things for you, give you bonuses, and then you'll be able to have X amount of credit, business line of credit, separate from your personal credit. Their thing is business line of credit, so that you can start acquiring properties, for example, for your own portfolio, or even the credit you can use for any type of business that you're involved in. So I found that to be good. But now to talk about all of that, I don't know. If people have debt, in my opinion, pay your debt off. Not financial advice, but get rid of your debt, because that's like a noose around your neck. But to see how, this gentleman, he was telling the people, they should get into real estate, invest in gold, invest in hard assets like silver. And he mentioned crypto, but he also said that he didn't know much about crypto. But he has a certain amount of money that he invested in crypto that's paying him a certain percentage a year, which, I mean, a lot of people don't know about crypto. It is what it is. But to see that live, right? To see the live going on, and while it's going on, there's deprivation taking place in the country. While people were signing up today, like by the droves, because they were even greeting the people who signed up as they were signing up through the live. So I signed up. That's what they were saying. I didn't sign up, but I'm saying this is what the audience, the people in the chat, were saying. I signed up. By the thousands in a 2-hour stream. In a 2-hour stream. You see how people sometimes, people look for a way out. And I'm sure they didn't do the proper research. They just were convinced by the information that, these salesmen were sharing to them, which is, it is what it is. But even in desperate times, people are willing to relinquish their cash and just hope for the best. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. That's the crux of everything that I'm trying to say here. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. You have to know your level of tolerance. Be aware of where you stand, in every aspect, financially, socially, professionally, economically. As far as your health, know where you stand. How's your health? Without that, we really have nothing. That's, to me, that without health, we have nothing. But these guys are just, and it was like a special. Like you had to sign up on that live stream at that moment. Otherwise, you were gonna miss a steep discount that they were giving on their product. Okay. The host, if you clicked on the host link, which was pretty much a referral link, I guess. You know, they have their business arranged a certain way where, whatever, the host had this referral link, and you had to do it right then and there, a steep discount, or else after the live stream, the discount was over. So anyone who looked at it later, who wants to join later, they would just have to pay a higher price, and made it seem like what they could do, you can't do. But the key is to also think about using this time to really think about how you can create something for yourself. If you have the ability, if you have the will, which I believe you do, how you can do something for yourself, to invest in yourself, to improve yourself, and not give away thousands and thousands of dollars in a time where you have no job. You have no job. And you're still going to give thousands of dollars away and not know when that thousand is going to be replaced. Sure, the product, if you have a plan to acquire property and right away make it work, as far as improve, make whatever rehab you need to make, put a tenant in the properties, and start to accrue rental income with a relatively short period of time, then more power to you if you have that plan. Many people, I don't think, have that type of plan. I could be wrong. But what I'm saying is, be careful when you're looking at something on the screen. If you don't do your research, you're leaving yourself open. You're leaving yourself open to experience loss, greater loss. It's already hard dealing with loss of family members right now, loss of jobs, loss of businesses, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring. That's already difficult. And then to take whatever resources you have to put it in something that you're not 100% sure about, I mean, come on, man. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Just think, people. Just think. That's all I'm saying. Just think, especially now. People are going to come. People are going to issue all kinds of stuff to try to get you to, market and advertise and sell you all kinds of different things. Some are good and many are not good. They could be scams. They're out here. People, is through tragedy, folks try to make the extreme profit, even in times of tragedy. It's real. And I mean, I saw, no shot to them, and I'm not hating on them. I'm just thinking in realistic terms and practical terms. Like, this is something, if you're in a position where you have a job and you're earning income and you're doing well for yourself, and you might like the service that they're giving, then go ahead, pull the trigger. But for a person who's struggling right now, who wants a way out, who doesn't want, the thing about it is, when you're building wealth, one of the things that I've learned, when you're building wealth, is you're allowing certain assets to generate income for you, where you don't have to work as hard to make money. You have assets that are paying you, however they're paying you. Multiple streams, multiple ways that you're earning income, right? Okay, one example of a hard asset is real estate, but you got to be smart. You got to be careful in this real estate game. That's why a lot of them are on YouTube now talking pay attention to how they're speaking. Pay attention to how they're speaking. They're talking real fast. And sure, real estate, you could be very successful in real estate, no doubt about it. But in a climate where people have extreme job loss, even higher than the days of the Great Depression, okay, expect the real estate market to be just as affected, side by side, and where values go down. I even was told today that someone who acquired property in the northeast part of the country recently had to let it go. They just had to let it go because they could not rehab it in time, to put a tenant in time, because soon after they acquired the property in late January, it took them, maybe they were spending a month to two to try to rehab the property, but then COVID hit. and now the person exhausted all of their resources to put into the property. Now they have to lose it. Now they have to get rid of it. It's just one example. I'm not saying it's one example of all examples. It's just one example of something real that's happening that many people could understand, and hopefully you can take away and take a positive outlook on what I'm saying, or a helpful outlook on what I'm saying, and use it to apply to your life so that you don't have to incur unnecessary loss. Once again, it's the same with crypto. Doing things in a certain way where you have adequate information, and you make the best decisions that's good for you because you have the information and you're well equipped on the risks. Yay or nay. Take care of yourselves.